live. So I'll say indeed, and greetings unto you, beloved and a holy friend. Thank you for joining me again on another conscious evolution. Another opportunity for us to consider how after we've been through things, after we go through situations, after we break up with someone, after we lose something, someone, some opportunity slips from our grasp, something doesn't work out the way we want them to, etc., etc. The only thing you are left with having lost on the other side is your mind. Right? Sometimes we lose a little bit of our mind as well, but today's stream topic is trying to really point us in the direction of the power of our minds and how, technically speaking, it is the center of our suffering. To say it in so many words, all right? There is no suffering to be had unless we think about it, unless we apply some mind to this suffering we're experiencing. So the way I see it is I need to get better at that, right? I might not get better at feeling good or not feeling bad when bad things happen, but I can get better at the way my mind processes the information I'm going through afterwards, right? I don't know if I'm supposed to get better at building walls, right? As in compartmentalize, like, okay, this was a group of events and it happened, and now this is a new group of events, and I'm not supposed to bring the traumas, the reasonings, the worries of that old group of happenings into this new group of experience. Right? Maybe that's one way to do it. Another way to do it would be acknowledging that previous experience. Hey, Joy V, bless you. It's nice having you here. Acknowledging that previous experience as essential to the next one, right? And like that's basically what I've been trying to do more than anything. Is just to see all of this experience as good, as still loving, as still an opportunity for growth, as what I want, right? As self-created. How can I look at everything that I've been through as of late and see it as self-created? I'm not saying it is. I'm saying I'm supposed to look at it that way and deal with the thoughts and emotions that come up when I do. Think about it, that is. But I've introduced the topic basically to no one. Maybe to the friends watching the recording. But hey, Joy V, it's nice having you here with me, friend. I am going to apply some heat, encouraging the THC on my Pheno 1 evacuate, running straight towards the warm embrace that is my lungs. Yeah, I just want to get off the farm and have experiences, JV. This is true. And experiences I've had. Oh my goodness. Experiences I've had. You know, as I'm vaping my vape, JV, I am considering how there is even more truth to what you're saying than I initially wanted to admit. Not only that I have a lot of experiences moving away from the farm, right? The experience of again having to afford things, having to buy food, realizing how expensive that is, realizing how frequent it keeps happening, right? The eating of food, if you will. Paying for a place to live, paying for internet, paying for the electricity, paying for fuel if you want to drive anywhere. All of those experiences came. And I knew those experiences will come, and I was ready for those experiences again. And then the experiences of theft, the experiences of exploitation by our police, the experiences of theft again. All right. And like those experiences are a little bit harder in the grand scheme of things. However, the thing that I'm noticing specifically is how within this experience of potential negativity, I happen to have all of the cards, if you will, on my side to believe I am a good guy, right? Because one of the things that I had a trouble, like, kind of like reconciling is the sense of guilt that I basically experience at all times. It manifests in like a food disorder where I don't feel like I should be eating kind of vibe. Like it's either a reasoning of like I'm fat or I eat too much and other people could be potentially starving, right? Like a whole mental thing there. And then the other side is like having too much. Like I have too much already, right? I don't believe I'm necessarily a wealthy individual, but in comparison to my fellow South Africans, I am wealthy, right? Like I'm not living in a sheet metal shack where a lot of people in our country are currently residing, right? So I have that to be grateful for as well. And this whole experience that I've been through has allowed me to not feel like I'm the bad guy in some way, right? Like I feel like I'm the one, and I hate using this word, getting victimized. So you cannot be a victim and an aggressor at the same time, at least in this context, right? Like I'm trying to maintain my home, the sanctity thereof, and other people are choosing by their volition to come and take from me. So I would like to believe that in that fractal, I am the one who is uh, not committing any crimes. Not, I don't know if committing crime is necessarily the measurement, but I'm not doing anything that I'm supposed to feel guilty about. Right? Like I get to be the one in a place of judgment of others instead of judgment of myself. And I wonder if that's an experience that I want to have. Not really, realistically, because it doesn't actually help. I realize that maybe my relationship to the judgment of when they wrong me is I have with myself when I make mistakes as well. So yeah, these experiences we have, Joviv, they teach us a lot. That is certainly happening. So in that, I guess it is self-created, but that is not the same thing as being your fault per se. I agree with your wisdom in that as well. Self-created experience, but doesn't make it my fault, right? And I feel like that's also something that I was thinking about a lot within this whole fractal, right? Like the doors not being locked, the alarm not being turned on that night, the most recent night, right? Instantly there is this want to find fault, right? Want to find fault with someone or wanting to point fingers and blame. However, the people to blame are those who are stealing our things. All right, it doesn't help casting blame on those that we love, our home members, our family members, our loved ones. So yeah, again, the only thing you'll be left with after all of these experiences is your mind, and you can input things into other people's minds, input things into your own mind, and it's a big responsibility on the one hand, and it's also one we can mess up so easily. Right, like I've been ruminating about all of the things that happened yesterday, and Like it comes back down to me not having handled it as well as I could have, right? Maybe I could have said it better. Maybe. And I think about these things, and I don't know if it helps. I think it does. It helps me, in my mind at least, to try and blame myself for experiences. Because in that way, I can try and course correct. I can try and, as a masculine individual, not make the same mistakes. Unfortunately, though, that means that for the most part, in my mind, I'm the one who is wrong. And maybe that's okay. Maybe that's what my ego needs, right? That there's a certain act of melting in the act of admitting that you might be wrong as well. So we learn. Slowly but surely. Hey, Duck Dad, bless you. That title is straight out of my life. Only input is the meandering mind. It's a wild ride. Yeah. Yeah, like I find myself, I have to literally catch myself, in the act. I have to catch myself in the act of like, I don't know, I call it bullshit. Yeah, basically. Hey, Katie, bless you, friends. Nice having you here. The meanderings of the mind. I just, again, right, it comes back to that whole fractal of wanting peace. The masculine wants peace, wants freedom from, all right? But freedom from technically looks like a dying into. So that's why I, in part, kind of like lean into the feminine side of myself, grow my hair, dress form, right? Keep myself hygienic. I like to smell nice, right? All of these things, in my mind at least, are feminine in nature. But so is your mind. So is your mind. And it seems my mind has a lot of fuel right now, right? Like thinking about it from the perspective of like someone who at least at some times kind of has like a conniving energy to them, and they're trying to use any information they can find to spin a narrative, right? I feel like that's the meanderings of the mind that I do not particularly enjoy because it gets out of hand so quickly, and it's so far off base, usually. I love my boss and his philosophy of work. He does not believe in blame. It is a useless waste of time. He functions from a state of how do we make sure this doesn't happen again? It is a healthier way. I like that, JV. Yeah, how can we make sure this doesn't happen again? We have been a lot more diligent with the turning on of the alarm at least, so we're trying to make sure it doesn't happen again. It is an old punk song talking about needing a brainwash. Just go in there and scrub out all of the muck from experiences like you're going through, Mel. I could use a brainwash. However, all of the muck that is there is also mixed up with lessons that we've learned, so maybe just a gentle brain scrub. It's interesting that you say those exact words, dude. Like, I was meditating today, and I was like really pushing it. I meditated for like 35 minutes straight or something like that. And I felt like so good. I felt like in the zone. But I was also very much in the mental space. And I could see myself in my meditation, still ruminating about this social exchange, right? On all of its layers that has been happening to me. And I noticed it like it was a sense of fullness, right? Like there was a feminine fullness to it. It wasn't necessarily desirable, but it was still feminine. It was still lovable, right? Kind of vibe. And then I realized that I was holding on to it from this lens of fullness, like a stomach would hold on to food. And then I stopped feeding that stomach this mind food that is this rumination of feeling all of these things. And then I literally watched as that container, it was very much a container, but my mind was registering it as stomach, right? It had like smooth sides. I watched as it drained all of this, all of this tumultuous sludge, like just saw it like dissipate slowly out of the tank. And then I literally scrubbed, right? I brainwashed the inside of that tank, right? And like all of this is happening to me, like I'm there doing it as I'm meditating, and like I'm like really like getting that like thin layer. There was like this thin layer of like blackish uh, residue attached to the inside of that tank, and I'm scrubbing and scrubbing, and then I do like a rinse where I like let water run down the sides of the tank, and then I see all of that black that I've scrubbed, kind of like accumulating at the bottom of the tank, and then I eject that like last little bit of residue out into space, and then I kind of lost it, right? Like it was at first, it was like, oh wow, the significance of me clearing out all of this mental sludge I've been holding on to, and then clearing out the last bit of it. And then instead of me being in the machine with the whole nuclear system doing something of that, for some reason I followed that like sidewall washed, last rinse sludge. I followed it into space. And like it was like a third person perspective, disembodied, looking at these droplets floating in space, right, in empty space. And then another spaceship comes along and then takes in those droplets and then analyzes those droplets for like, some sort of biological material, chemical compounds, right, anything that is of value, and then finds in that sludge like thousands and thousands of different, novel chemicals that they've never seen before. And they instantly start applying it to their medicines and they can benefit from it. And like my mind just keeps going into that fractal of like seeing how this act of clearing a system, completely getting rid of all of what I would consider bad stuff, gets repurposed by a completely different system in a way that then helps. I haven't articulated that meditation session to myself just yet, but yeah, maybe that's the way I'm supposed to see it. Thank you, friends. Connor! Hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Bless your name, dude. All right. Mm-hmm. Joy. That is an incredible boss and a good trait to have in a human. I've been working on the more stoic way of thinking, but still a stoicism modified version. Doug, same. I've definitely been working on stoicism. Good on us. Yeah, that's basically how I started. Stoicism was the very first philosophy I got into. It was Stoicism, then it was like Hindu mysticism. Is that the right way to say it? Alan Watts. And then it was like Buddhism as well with Ram Dass. But yeah, Stoicism, it's good stuff. If you want to, at least this is my bias, if you want to get like a good look into one person's take on Stoicism, and this is again my bias, but I think he's the best take on Stoicism, read Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. It is very repetitive, but so is life. And so are the lessons that we need to learn about life. So, I don't know if you friends have read that one, but that's a fantastic read. There are places on earth where women take on the sociological role of men. I think we all inhabit feminine and masculine qualities. I believe every single one of us are, by nature, a system of dualities. right? Masculine and feminine. The part of us that's masculine is unchanged. The part of us that is witnessing, right? Like I can lift my hands up into my field of view and see my hands, and you can lift up your hands and see my hands, right? And they can lift up their hands and see their hands. Our hands, right? Like there is no separation in that for me from the masculine consciousness. And then the feminine side of our experience is everything else, right? This body, this personality, this set of thoughts you have, your memories, all of your experiences. That is feminine in my mind. And all I have to do is, as a masculine observer, to love that feminine. And that is the thing where I get caught up sometimes because I know this as my truth, right? But then the things I go through happen. And I have to remind myself that love is true. I have to look at these painful experiences and acknowledge that that is also feminine nature. And that I can hate it, I can scold it, I can, suffer it, expecting it to be differently, or I can love it. And it's hard. It's hard loving experiences that your ego doesn't particularly approve of. It's very hard, but it is possible, and it's a good skill to have. My boss functions from a state of admiral. Mi buono muchacho. Connor bien est utse. I am having a midlife crisis. Aren't you like in your 20s, bro? Don't start with me. Your meditation is blowing my mind on so many different levels. I'm happy that you're appreciated, good bro. Like it's interesting. I haven't meditated in such a long time, and then yesterday and today were the first 2 days that I've been starting meditation again. And to be gifted that like meditation, and then you talking specifically about the scrubbing, right? So the scrubbing, and then there's like some good lessons mixed up in the bad, right? And the fact that I went through that whole thing, literally scrubbing the inside of that tank with a broom. Some synchronicities, bro. Some crazy synchronicities. Am I high? The chat is Spanishy. Yeah, no, I'm seeing it too. At least the chat is here, right? That is such a blessing. I could feel Joy Vive starting to look around her, looking for, other people to be in the stream with her. I could feel her wanting to start typing. Where is everybody else? Thank you, friends, for joining me. Seriously, it is always a pleasure. Oh, Connor, me too. The last like 15 years. Welcome to the club, homie. Yeah. Worky, lurky, love all of you beautiful beings. Love you too, Jovan. Oh, Sam, talk to Grandpa Mike. Connor, did you buy a Corvette and get a mullet? That's gonna be the measure of midlife crisis. So if I buy a Corvette. Corvettes are nice looking cars though. I wouldn't mind driving a Corvette. I would mind paying taxes and fuel prices though. So I'll probably not drive it. I'll just have to park in the garage. My dad reads Marcus Aurelius. Your dad automatically just got 5 extra points of cool in my mind. Katie, tell your dad he is +5 cool. I've had so many bad experiences with men. I struggle with thinking I hate them. Yeah, yeah, I get you. That is pretty rough. Katie, I don't know if I can help you with that. I can be a man you can love, right? Maybe what I can do for you is show you that there is capacity for love without it needing to be a romance, a relationship, an intimacy, right? Because I feel like a lot of the potential hatred, because again, hatred is not the opposite of love. Indifferences. So the fact that you could potentially hate men means that there's still love in that fractal, right? It's a polarity to love, but it's still the energy of love. Because you're spending a lot of energy thinking about men in that case, even if it is hatefully. Maybe you're thinking hatefully about the parts of men, the parts of humanity that exploit power, right? That makes you feel small. And it's good that you hate these things, but it's not men. Those are behaviors, they are actions, they are mistakes. They are mistakes. They're not men. So maybe that's the way we can reframe. Hate the things that people do, not the people themselves. Bless you, Katie. I know it's just my trauma, and not all men are like how I've experienced. But every time something happens, my confirmation bias strikes. Yeah, like and this is me again paraphrasing, but apparently, women's memory and minds reason like a linear state of happening, right? Where all of the things that you've been through basically create like a neuronal priming to what you're experiencing now. And there is a sense of safety, a sense of security, a sense of satisfaction in being right about your environment, even if you believe that environment is bad, right? And you feel badly about that environment. You confirming to yourself that, yes, look, this thing bad, me victim again. It also, and I said that in the start of the day stream, allows you to not consider yourself at fault in any way. Right? As soon as you're the victim of an experience or of a situation, you are instantly not at fault anymore. Or at least it allows you to think that. It allows that state of being to arise. And some people would rather be a victim ceaselessly than take responsibility for a moment. Right? And I'm not saying that's how it is. I'm just commenting on that as a thing that I've noticed in myself as well. Right? Now having noticed it in myself. Mm, fuckered around in college and not gonna graduate. I have a birthday this week and I have officially given up on the classes I have right now. I have skipped them for a few weeks and the comeback isn't it. Just been in transition period for a while. The crossroads is real, time is running out. Yeah, we were here for the last like few months of you stressing about your class. I'm sorry to hear that you didn't go to your classes, bro. That must have been a lot of time and money spent. You must have still gained a lot of experience. I don't believe a college degree is necessary to make a success of your life. But yeah, I can imagine it is difficult to be in your position right now. You were loved, dear Connor, despite all of these experiences. Katie, I feel that way about most humans. Yeah, but make it a practice to not make a general sweeping judgment about anyone. It's hard to keep the preconceived thoughts out of new relationships, right? The only thing you're left with is your mind. And what your mind sees of the world, what your mind shows up as, what your mind wills itself to do, becomes your reality. Man, that's beautiful what you just said. Yeah, I like that. More peace than static. I get it. Thanks, Joe. I work very hard not to judge people quickly. Human is human. My parents are like angry. My friends are like, let's drink more. I am like lost and confused. I believe so, bro. It's hardwired into our brains to judge people on appearance, survival. Yeah, it's also hardwired into my brain and into my biology to defend myself with violence. When someone attacks my even emotions, I have noticed, right? Like there is something alive in me that is very dangerous that I have to actively ignore. I have to be like, no, we're not doing that, bro. We're not doing that. No, please. No, please, not that, right? And it is a survival thing. So just because we're hardwired to be certain ways doesn't mean we have to be that way. Like you can overcome the animal. You are more powerful than it. More powerful than only instincts. And I'm not saying this from the perspective of the animals are worse than us. I actually believe they might live more tranquilly than we do. But as soon as we have mind, that is today's stream topic, as soon as we are left with mind at the other side of this evolutionary process, suddenly new responsibilities take hold, right? You can consider yourself as responsible for everything that you've been through, kind of vibe, right? And that's different to how an animal reasons. An animal just kind of goes about, right? I don't think an animal really considers itself responsible in the same way you would, having to go through like the college process, for example. Connor, you may not graduate now, but that doesn't mean you never will. I fucked around in my time and was on academic probation so many times. This fractal also occurred in high school. I got to walk with my class but didn't graduate technically until I took another class. Bless you, Connor. Bless you, Joy V. Thank you for sharing that story with him and for us. Connor, that sounds real rough. But try to remember that life is long and that we can usually repair the damage or misdirection with a little time and effort, with a little application of our minds. Connor, college isn't the only pathway into life. We're all, we're gonna be okay. Please try to enjoy your birthday. You can always go back when you're actually ready. Happy birthday, Connor. Bless you, bro. I hate that in America we are pressured right away into going to college when usually we don't even know what student loans are. That are my experiences anyway. Yeah. Yeah, get this degree that you will have to pay for with your job for the next 12 years, if you're lucky. It's a little bit exploitative. This is true. Love is true. Yes. All right. Hey, peeps. Loving to you all. Amazing you animals. You are awesome. No, you, Kristen. Bless you. Gotta go take my man to the doctor. Love you all. Thanks for the words. Thank you for sharing some with us too. Have a good time. Drive safe. All the in-person classes. I have to find a home next year or drive 3 hours 2 days a week, and that's lots of monies. Thanks for the birthday wishes, Katie. Have a good day. Have good luck with the doctor. Yeah, Connor. The college fractal, dude. Like for me, the only thing that I'm kind of like stuck at, and you're probably stuck at as well, is you've already invested all of this time, right? Like you've played this game for so many hours, and you're like right at the end of the game. You just have to like win this final boss, and you can come back to fight this boss again. It's probably going to be expensive because this is a pay-to-play game, college that is. But you can do it. It can be done. Today we talked about, I don't know if you were here for that, but Joy Vive mentioning the work ethic of her boss. Instead of trying to blame you, be like, hey, Connor, your fault because so and so, because drink, because not show up to class and stuff, manana, manana. Or we can ask how to not, how to not. I mean, I have been trying to at least. I believe alcohol is probably the biggest problem. I believe if you just stop drinking, right? Maybe this is the yes, the silver lining is forming. The fact that your friends might be graduating could be a good thing because then you won't have friends anymore, right? Because that was your excuse last time. Oh, my friends, I have to drink because my friends, right, Melt? And then Melt goes, no, no, stop. It's not good for you, please. No, please. Oh man, yeah, it's the alcohol is to blame. That's it. That's it, bro. Easy peasy. Now suddenly we're innocent. Again, this is something that you're going to have to be in mind with, right? Like this experience is probably going to give you a lot to think about. Just need to lock in. I know. Yeah, that is just lock it down. Exactly. Get it done. Right. For a commitment is the deliberate decision that something will be so. I will graduate. This is not a negotiable. This is not something that I'm asking any advice on or direction in. This is how it is. This is how it shall be. No ifs, whats, or whens about it. It just is. Just is. Schedule your drinking away from your productive schedule. Yeah. Like, unfortunately, drinking has an effect on you, literally up to 2 weeks after you consume it once. Unfortunately, right? And it also directly forms or influences, at least, you know, uh, a relationship with the memory forming part of your brain. If drinking is a part of your life, you literally, by definition, have less brain cells and less capacity to remember things. And if you really think about the actual effects of alcohol, less ambition to do things as well. It's a very toxic substance to put in your body. Very much so. Please don't, right? I get it that there is a celebratory aspect to it, but if it is at all a part of your life, like a daily, that's the worst case scenario, or weekly, pretty bad case scenario as well, situations, supplement it somehow. Maybe start drinking kombucha, you know. Maybe you can still go out and you just ask for kombucha, or you take your own. You can feel super good about yourself. Oh man. What I am left with in mind, I'm trying to think about what I am like when I have consumed alcohol. It's been so long since I've consumed enough to actually feel the effects thereof. But usually, it's pretty mindless. How about that? It leaves me with less mind at the other side of the drunkenness. And I get it. I get why that is something that people seek in their experience because it's literally all we're left with at the other side of our hectic week. Our shit gets stolen, our partner leaves us, our house gets foreclosed on, we lose our job, our car gets repoed. I don't know how bad the circumstances have to be, but after all of that shit happened, the only thing we're left with is our mind and our thinking of all of these things. And I understand why humanity gravitates towards something that stops that thinking, stops that mind. But unfortunately, that mind is gonna come back, right? It is the only thing you're left with. Unless you slay yourself, right? That mind is gonna come back to think again, to process, to try and solve the problem that you are currently facing. What problem am I currently facing? It seems just, you know, financial problems, not having enough capital. That seems like a very reasonable problem to have. All right. I could have bigger problems. My mind is like, you do have bigger. Having solving that problem means that the other bigger problems I have are less of a big problem. Boom, checkmate. Drinking has an effect on you for up to 2 weeks. Really, that's nice. No wonder beer costs so much here per six pack now. Yeah, it's like it's unfortunately one of those things that does damage to everything. Alcohol doesn't care, right? Where there are like rules, you have like biological encroaching rules. I don't know how to say this because I'm no scientist, but the easiest way to explain it is certain molecules. Let's say, for example, THC and CBD. They are formed in a certain way, they're shaped in a certain way. And because of their relationship with our biology, they are actually what is called allowed through our blood brain barrier, right? Like there is an exchange that happens. It's allowed through this like intricate immune system. Alcohol doesn't follow those rules, right? Where I just use the words of allowed, there are certain molecules that are too big or not shaped in the right way, and then it won't be allowed through this membrane. Alcohol just doesn't care. It just goes through. Allowed? I don't care. I don't care if I'm allowed or not. I'm gonna go there. I'm doing it, right? Your mitochondria goes in there, fucks your shit up, right? It does like system-wide damage every time that you have to like recover from. Sometimes for up to weeks, depending on your tolerance and capacity to rejuvenate yourself. It is very bad, like so bad. I'm not passing judgment. I'm not passing judgment either. I'm just stating facts. I have drank in my life. Surprise, surprise, right? I grew up in a small town where drinking was literally the only thing that teenagers had to do over the weekends. There was not even like a movie theater or a place to like do some pinballing. We didn't even have stuff like that, right? There's nothing, like absolutely nothing for young people to do other than drink. So I was a part of that fractal. But then, as I, had access to the internet and had access to modern science and research, it becomes pretty clear what I'm supposed to be doing. And again, for me, in my mind, for my need to share love, I believe, in my personal experience, one of the best ways to get love is to get good information. And that's what I'm sharing. I'm not passing judgment about the booze. I am just sharing the facts. I believe 100% that it affects the motivation and forward think part of the spirit. It literally does that. It's made to do that, right? It literally suppresses the part of you that has ambitions for the future. So again, this whole fractal of mind. Your mind is also the thing that like simulates new future possibilities for yourself. Sure, you can stunt that mind and not think about your past, but when you stunt that mind, you also can't think about your future. So you end up finding yourself kind of like in that state of like low vibrational energy in this moment. It's so wild. And it's sold everywhere. I can drink it all now. When I was in college, I went through I don't know what I don't know what those numbers means, but 80 26s of Jack Daniels in one summer. I don't know what that means, but that sounds like too much. I kept the bottle, so I unfortunately counted them. It makes me sluggish and lazy for a day or two at least. Zano, did we go to college together? No, I don't drink at all. Joe, exactly. It makes my veins feel like sandpaper the next day. Yeah, that's the whole them just going wherever they want. They do damage wherever they go as well because it's ethanol, right? Like if you put ethanol on a cell, if I don't know if you've seen what it looks like. If you have like a bunch of germs on a petri dish and then you drop like a 1 drop of alcohol on them, they disintegrate. They go from being like nice little units of consciousness of life into being like cosmic sludge, getting turned into goo, right? And that happens to your innards when you drink alcohol as well. I want my innards, the inside of your veins, to turn to goo. And because your body has to repair that shit, and it takes a lot of energy. I had dozens of Crown Royal bottles lining our apartment. More of the old smoky whiskey that beat. Connor is well aware that alcohol is not good for him. That's not the issue he needs to deal with life without the booze. And discipline is a do that is hard. Because if you don't want to, it's not going to happen. I know. I'm just trying to make it easier, right? Because again, I believe alcohol doesn't help. It doesn't help with the work. It can help with the pain, but so can fentanyl until it kills you as well, right? Like it's not about escaping the pain. It's about learning how to use our mind in a way where the pain becomes worth it somehow, right? I'm trying to do that too. Like all of this pain I'm going through, I'm already convincing myself that it's going to be worth it in the long future because I'll get to appreciate even more the things that I have, the safety that I can appreciate and experience in my future. Thinking, looking back at the experiences that I've had here, how am I using my mind to reframe my experience actively? To make the things that I want happen, as you say. Why the collecting? I'm so embarrassed by the photos now, but it's so proud of it at the time. We live in that society, right? It's a cultural thing, Zana. Like drinking a lot, being a heavyweight, being able to drink someone else under the table is seen as something that is to be proud of, right? As a sign of capacity. When it just means that your body has more capacity to process a toxic chemical until it stops, which is, it's like, oh, let's see who can take the most cyanide before dying. Like, okay, that seems like a little bit morbid, don't you think? Can we not? Oh, no, 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 no. Okay, I agree. I have been pretty mindless for good reasons at times. I think Joy is right there, that there was the mindset and discipline change to even create the foundation for growth. Zano, yeah. We decorated our empty half-gallon jugs for Christmas and Halloween. Shake my head. We were so proud at the time. It is a blurry and distorted, embarrassing chapter when I look back at it. Collector here too. Why did we do this? I collected mezcal and tequila bottles. Christian had a bunch of wine bottles, kind of like coating his windows at his old apartment. And then while I was there, somebody actually knocked on the door and asked him to remove the bottles because it's not a good look for the apartments. And there was like a whole mind thing going on there as well. Like, how fucking dare he? For me, with quitting anything, I have to create a mantra in my mind and remind myself of the many, many reasons why the spirit no longer wants this fractal in my life. The same method applies to places, substances, and even people. You have to believe that it is a hindrance before you can convince yourself to walk away from it. That's beautifully said, bruh. This thing is a hindrance. This thing makes my walking ahead harder, right? Dragging this thing with me as I try to walk ahead is hindering me. I need to let go of it. I need to let go of it. I need to let go of it. All of the things that do not serve me, I will let go of eventually. Love is true. How do I get out of the low vibration state? You all know I have been talking about this shit for a year or so. It's just a lack of willpower. No, I don't think so. I think it's more uh, a a lack of structure. I think that might be it, right? Maybe like that sense of just kind of like rummaging around energy. Like there is an energy of clearly and directly doing something and knowing this is the thing you need to do. And then there's the energy of, and both of those energies are useful in their own places, right? Like rummaging around can be very useful if you're foraging for food, for example. If you're trying to find something beautiful, if you're exploring a new experience, a fractal. But if you're trying to, for example, get a degree, then the objective is very clear, right? So if the objective is very clear, then that means there is a set of things you can do in order to get to that very clear objective. And for me, again, it's a structure thing more than it is a willpower thing. If I didn't have the structure I have right now for what it is I'm doing, I wouldn't be able to will myself to do it, right? I believe I have a lot of willpower, but it's structure first, willpower second. Because when the time comes to get the thing done that I have set out to do, to follow through with the commitment, the deliberate thing that I made sure will be so, I show up for it, right? High willpower or low. So maybe that's the thing that you can start with, Connor, is if you're going to study for a test or pass your college degree. I don't know how many subjects you have. Set clear schedules, right? An hour for each subject, during the day. And then when that hour comes, you sit down with that material and you absorb as much of it as you can. And you try and push that button as regularly as you can. And it doesn't have to be fun. It doesn't have to be good. It doesn't have to feel like you're making progress. You just have to show up for that schedule. And once you kind of like finish that fractal, you'll be on the other side of it. Having this ability to show yourself again that it's not a willpower thing. I believe at least it's not a willpower thing. I've shown myself that by willpower alone, there's only so much you can do. As masculine individuals, I believe we need structure, bro. And that's why people end up gravitating towards a job, right? Because a job is by nature a structured environment that you can basically just slot into. They'll tell you what you're supposed to do. However, I believe in the future we're heading into, that's no longer going to be the case. You might be able to ask an AI to create structure in your life, but ultimately, you're still going to have to be the one that lives in that structure, in that mental structure that you have been building for yourself. So maybe that's where you can start, bro. And it's easy. It's easy building structure, bro. Like you can literally, you have a cell phone, I believe, at least. You can just set like this time I'm gonna just do this, and you can make it easy for yourself again. You can make it so easy, like at 9 a.m. Until 10 a.m. I play games, and then when 9 a.m. comes, you show up, bro. You show up and you play your games. You do it. And then that's gonna start forming this ability for you to put yourself in a structure and then to show up for that structure. And then when you start putting those blocks down, you'll make progress. You cannot help. You literally cannot help but make progress. It's how it works. It is the power that you have inherent in your soul. Is that on beat? Bless you, friend. Sending your lovins. Oh, no, 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 no. Samesies, dog. I used to collect my bottles or make wizard staffs by duct taping each beer can. I finished the beer I was drinking. It was ridiculous, and that was a lot of laughter. I kind of love that. I've never seen someone do that, but the 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 beer staff, that kind of makes me happy. But there's a whole year of my life I was coping by avoiding and forgetting. I can't remember that whole year. Mindless self-indulgence. I was just talking yesterday about how I loved that band name and got into conversation about that year that I lost. These lessons echoing through the universe. Thank you for putting down the beats so I can ride those waves as well. Connor, willpower is a double-edged sword. You have to will to not get high, and you also have to willpower today. Fuck it. It's simply a matter of learning to not say fuck it. Yeah. To not let that energy of you know what? To not let that energy win. And again, structure. Structure is how I win. Because as soon as you show up for your structure, that energy of fuck it has already lost at least some of the battle. Unfortunately, we live in a world of extreme distraction. So if you're going to show up for that structure, you have to make sure you put your distractions away as well. Because that energy of fuck it is always going to be there. You know, being like, just blow off studying and scroll Reddit for the next 40 minutes of your 1 hour scheduled time. Just do it, right? Do it. And then you can let it. You can let it win. But it is like one of those things where letting that version of you win makes this version of you lose. You're gonna let that. You're gonna let that happen. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. The world is bright. Very beautiful for you. You just have to show up for it. Teach yourself to say no thank you. I don't need this today. It won't help me if I do this. Wow. MSI is a whole fractal I haven't thought about in years, Joe. Mindless self-indulgence, MSI. Holds a special place in my heart. I partied with them guys in Miami when they were still small. What a fractal. Willpower is misunderstood. Willpower is finite. Yes, it might last a day or two at most, or only an afternoon if there is a bottle staring you in the face. I find only discipline works. I like how me and Joy Vive were like sharing the same advice. This is true. It's very unfortunate, right? Because just hearing the word discipline makes the inner child in me cringe, right? Because discipline was literally synonymous with punishment, right? And I think for a lot of us it is. Getting disciplined means getting punished, right? When getting disciplined, in my mind at this point, is like a sense of fitness, right? The more disciplined I am, the more fit I am to achieve the things I want to do in this life, right? And if there is some sort of measurement of me feeling in control to me feeling happy, then discipline is the only lever I can push on in order to make that happen. So we do. We push. Joy V, thank you for pushing on that discipline lever as well. Like, just to honor this, like, Joy V's discipline. Joy V, started showing up almost like last year, maybe a last year and a month or now so ago. She started showing up for her yoga classes, and she has like a 99, 98% attendance rate, right? Like, and it's rough. Like, when it's like the daylight savings early hours, she gets up like at 5 a.m. to show up for yoga, but she does it, right? Despite it sucking, despite feeling tired, despite not wanting to. That discipline, that willingness to make a deliberate decision that something will be so, and then doing it, it it doesn't just bring that sense of fitness into your life, of showing up for your exercise. It also proves something to yourself on a psychological level that then carries through for everything else that you do, right? Like it's that whole how you do one thing is how you do everything. I don't know if that's true, but it is something I'm very aware of when I do something where I'm like, bro, this should be a measurement for how you would do everything else as well. So do it well. Do this thing that you're doing well. Connor, I encourage you to take baby steps out of your comfort zone and try doing things that you've never tried. Getting to know that you could love so much and pursue it. That is the only way to raise your vibes. I think I completely messed up that comment. And try doing things you've never tried getting into. Rock climbing, adventuring, outdoors, making art or music, or going to concerts, comedy stuff, random events. Run into people who like things that make you feel good too. Find something you didn't know you could love so much and pursue it. That's the only way to raise your vibes. That is fantastic advice. Ro called me Summer Age Rumorage, called me a rumager, and it is 100% right. I'm not sure calling you a rummager. I understand. I understand, dude. Like, because you think I'm special? No. Like, I can only speak about these things because it comes from a place of self-knowing, knowing the rummager in me. Weirdly enough, the part of me that starts rummaging becomes more empowered when I'm in this psychedelic state of mind as well, right? Like a sense of being lost and looking for something at the same time. You are loved, brother bear. When you get busy with things you want to pursue, you kind of forget about the things that you want that want to pull you down. Yeah, it gives you a clear direction to head into, to pull against. Lovely Connor, don't be ashamed of the feeling of want. Of what? Want? It's you battling your entire bloodline of the epigenetic influencing you. The way I get out of the situations was finding a healthier habit or digging deep and separating your feelings into narratives. Like instead of saying, fuck, I'm so sad today, maybe journal, but ask, how does this sadness feel today? Or how does the alcohol pull feel today? That takes some super deep digging and reframing. Sometimes deep digging can be painful, but we believe in you. That's so beautifully said, Zano. I couldn't have said it better myself. Digging deep and separating your feelings into narratives, right? Like letting yourself experience your emotions, but then applying that set of mind afterwards. And instead of just ruminating, rummaging through your own mind for painful feelings, you have a direction you want to go in, right? Ah, I am sad today. Why am I sad today? As I said, how does this sadness feel? Where in my body do I feel this sadness? Can I put my hand on that sadness? And does that change my feeling? If I continue throughout the day, do I see this sadness changing? If I do something right now, will my sadness change as well? Right? Like that is mindfulness basically, at its core at the end of the day as well. Like I saw this beautiful post. Let's see if it's still up. If we're lucky, it might still be. No, 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 I don't think so. Let me see. No. It wasn't someone's status, but it only lasts 24 hours. But it was like this chain of reasoning, you know, going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, and coming back just to mine. What we think about this experience right now. And how sometimes it takes so much steps to get to a point of feeling connected to this experience. And it's unfortunate because when those steps are appropriately taken and we feel appropriately connected to our experience, to the people around us, to ourselves and our role in this life, it feels good, feels true, feels unmistakable, feels divine in nature. And then, like that, we forget. We go on with our lives, we get stuck in our own minds all over again, right? Like we're left with only the stuff of mind, even though we've had such a divine experience literally an hour ago or whatever. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of effort, and it is gonna take time, right? You're still, all of us are still young. Melt, I am 65 years old. Yeah, young, very young. Our universe is billions of years old. You're still a kid. Don't take yourself so seriously. Oh, okay. No. Yeah, Jovan. They were maniacs, but they were very kind. They played at the local hole in the wall from time to time. And we went to probably 15 different shows. We hang out a lot that summer. That sounds so beautiful, actually. Discipline. Let the moment pass. Yes, I think that is so right. It really is. Getting to meet someone we're talking about in stream as well. Punishment is the consequence, but discipline is learning the lesson for me. Yeah, I don't know if we should be punishing each other. I think, again, you beautifully said it. Like, I think consequences needs to be the punishment instead of punishing each other, right? Like, if there will be punishment, we need to make it clear that there are consequences for decisions. And it shouldn't be, suffering in nature. It should just be a realizing of the stakes, right? If you do not show up, then you can't show up, kind of vibe, right? And if you do show up next time, you can show up, right? Like there should be a very direct correlative: choose love, and love chooses you. Don't choose love, and you cannot, at least in that moment, right, be included in that loving exchange. Like when I'm thinking about it from the perspective of being a child as well, right? Like despiting yourself. Like there's so much self-spite as a child. And at some point, people need to grow out of that. But how do you force them to? Can you? Do you punish them out of it? Maybe you just make it very clear to them that the consequences of their fractal is their own suffering, their own want for things to be differently, and they can choose to make it differently, right? Give them the control back, kind of vibe. Put it in their minds that they are still, in fact, in control. Thank you all for the advice, dear friends. I thank you all for being so real. I think this space has put me on the right path. If not for you, friends, I would have no one to talk about it. You were loved, Connor. Thank you for being willing and vulnerable enough to. That sounds like a hell of a summer, judge you. I bet I would have gotten along with them too. There are many, many ways to navigate a minefield. If you can't figure it out yourself, you can ask someone on the other side. But maybe you can take the path that they took. You need to learn how to spot the mines. Yeah, exactly. Because sometimes, maybe your friends get blown up by mines. That's so fucking dark, I'm sorry. But you need to be able to still make your way through the minefield. Your environment improves when you find yourself amongst friends who care about you and your growth. Yeah. I love to focus on what do I see, what do I smell, what do I feel, etc. Bringing yourself back, grounding, right? I was trying to say that we can all take the same path through a minefield, dropping in to observe now. Bless you. Jovan, you were probably 10 years old. There's no way we were taking you to a punk show. Weirdly enough, I think Jovan would fit right in, even as a 10-year-old, into that punk show. Just give her, a bunch of dark makeup. Yes, separating and making the feelings explain themselves in third person. Are you okay, sadness? I feel like you don't hear me. I feel like you ignore how much shit I'm carrying and don't even take. A moment to consider it. I don't know. Sorry, I needed that more. I just want to show an example, but got carried away. You are loved. You can share as much as you feel you want to. Love you all so much, dear friends. Blessed to have these experiences and relating to you in the fractals. Bless you, bro. Love, love, love. The consistent change of perspective here with y'all. Growth, right? Conscious evolution on P. Conscious evolution, no matter what it takes. No matter how long it takes, no matter how much time I have to give, we will consciously evolve. Grow by our experience. A true paradigm, bless you. Thank you for being a part of it, always, Humpy. I believe in you, Connor. Now it's your turn to believe in you too. Bless. Zano, the way you describe yourself and your processes, you and I are very similar in that rhythm. I can feel it too. I mean, I'm probably all of us, to some level of beat. I don't mean towards anyone, but more of a natural consequence depending on a choice. The natural consequences depending on a choice, right? The consequences of not being able to graduate with your friends, having not studied, right? That is a consequence. That is a consequence. Unfortunately, I'm thinking about like the scrolling consequences that come after that as well, right? And weirdly enough, the biggest consequence that I think of is again your own mind. Because I don't think the consequences of not having a degree is that big of a deal, realistically speaking. However, the consequences of believing yourself unworthy of that degree, right? Of considering yourself too lazy to get that degree, too stupid, to this, to that, right? The mind stuff you hold on to afterwards. That's the real consequence. 11, 11. It's 22% battery on here again. I am on 49. No synchronicity here. Love you, friends. Thank you. I think it is time for us to finish up. I'm gonna go get my cards. Maybe I'll vape one more time before I do. I will evaporate a little bit of marijuana with you. Oh, I will apply heat to my marijuana with you. This I'll do with you. Love you all a whole bunch. I love you. Thank you, Joe. Thank you for reminding us, bro. We know it, but it's still so nice to hear. The consequences of not being in your right state of being to take the opportunities that arise. I agree completely, right? And I worry about that a lot, Connor. Like of the stuff that I've been through as of late. Like I do not feel like I am capable of being myself, the way I'm supposed to be. And if I cannot be myself, then I cannot articulate the way I want to. I cannot be as friendly as I need to. I cannot make people feel the way I believe they deserve to, right? And that feels like a consequence of my own suffering, not so much my own design, right? Only half a bowl. Mm-hmm. Ooh, you mind if I get a wobbly bobbly car? And do I mind? Do I mind? I mind, bro. I mind all the time. Flowers. I get to smell flowers. What a blessing. I grew these flowers myself and now I get to smell them. How cool. How cool. I remember talking about these plants with you friends in January. So stoked. So excitedly. And now I get to smell these flowers up close to me. They're so sticky. So sticky. Smells like candy. Smells like fresh old candies. Sometimes the consequence is just the natural progression of the situation. Changing by making different choices does change the consequences, but won't change the brain. If I'm sick, nothing matters. Yeah, that's the hard part, Zano. The lower I feel, the harder it is to pull myself out. I think here's where we come first circle and acknowledge the friends we have, right? That I have been decidedly low over the last couple of weeks of being here. And again, you friends have been like dragging me forward, right? Like I have been like face down on the ground in my mood, in my state of being, in my energy. But you friends have been pulling me forward despite it. Right? I get to show up for you, friends, and I appreciate that. I am going to clean this out quickly. Unfortunately, there is some little sheety CDs in here. Not a lot, but enough to be enough. There are thousands of ways to distract us from moving forward in our evolution. Understanding that these distractions are placed in forum in front of us as a test to our commitment to a better understanding. The challenge becomes the challenge then becomes to spot the obstacles and learn how to avoid them so completely that they no longer have an effect on our journey, like icebergs in the ocean. That is beautifully put, bro. I do like that. Ah, yes. I have stacked my little dino vat. Thank you, oh my Gaia, for giving the energy, the air, the soil to grow a little bit of marijuana for me. So I can appreciate it with you friends. Throw in any bit of gratitude I can find. So cool, Mel. Thank you. I don't know what I did that was cool, but yes. Yes, I am so cool. My poor little teenage self is so stoked to hear these words. Alright. Alright. Love is true. I'm going to vape. Pull 2 cards. One for us and one for Connor. The birds are chirping, honeysuckles are sweet, plants are growing, and animals are grazing. Blessing. So many blessings to you and our experience, Auntie. Love is true. Love is true. Small adjustments work when you can see a long way off. So true. The cure is deep dive in meditation. Doing a few inner child meditations and get some of those eye juices flowing would be a great start. Also, very good advice. All right, I'm gonna go pull some cards. You getting them? Yeah. Yeah. I feel very in tune right now. Yes. Zoom out. When in doubt, zoom out. Do you feel like life is collapsing in on you? Zoom out. Do you feel like the walls are closing in? Zoom out. Grew beautifully tasty, but me? Did you see the photo? Did you see the photo on the Discord? It does. It's the best butt I've ever grown for myself. Without that, I'll say that. And it's so perfectly cured. Like, I feel so proud. It makes me happy every single time I get to vape some of it. Alright, card number uno. This one? Hands and birds? Weirdly enough, I feel like there should be birds in this card, but there are none. There are none. And then we'll pull a card for Connor too. Pink? Yeah, pink skies. Very much pink skies. The pain can be very scary, but being as sincere as possible to yourself in is a baby step process. I hate how fat I am, but I still eat lots of snacks at midnight, at nighttime, because it's some sick weird punishment. There is no cure to mental health. It's a practice. What I found help is not being awake at nighttime, right? Going to sleep earlier helps me not snack that late. And as you said, it is a practice. It's not just something that you just like win at. That is powerful, Zano. You were so loved, Zano. Thank you for sharing with us. I almost sneezed. Here's Connor's card. It goes, trust your path, Connor. You just have to trust your path. If you knew you would be supported, what would you do? What would you do, bro, if you knew you were supported? You know you. Lumeria. I'll read our card first, and then I'll read Connor's. It will be all of our cards. These cards will pull all of us out, but it is Connor who asked. So this is the first card we pulled. Lumeria. And there's the pink sky card. That's so nice. Thank you, Auntie. That's the kindness. My heart feels so light. Creating heaven on earth. It's happening. You literally just like put in one of the tokens, right? If it takes a bunch of tokens to get the heaven on earth machine going, you just put in a bunch of tokens. Thank you. Lumeria, one of the final cards. We've been pulling a lot of the final cards. Lumeria, or Mu, is one of the earth's lost lands, where heaven really was a place on earth. A time before we were kicked out of the Garden of Eden. In Lemuria, life worked in harmony. All beings were seen as equal, and we were deeply reverent to Mother Earth. We knew that a mosquito was no worse than us, and the sun no better. Perhaps you too believe that heaven really can be a place on earth. I do. Perhaps you are a part of the transition team who at soul level are devoted to creating this kind of harmony on the planet now. I am. Thank you for wanting to do this work. You're welcome. I don't always want to be very honest. I don't always want to, but I will. It's easy to get overwhelmed by the state of affairs on the planet right now. But you are being encouraged to keep holding the clear vision of the future. For it is closer than you think. It's a lot closer than we think. It's like this close. It's like this close up to our faces. Like we're still like looking at the world through it. Still seeing the same world, but we don't realize this change just right up to our face. You may be guided to hold the frequency of Lemuria in your own community, family, workplace, and especially within your own being. Know that it is possible, and while at times it may feel like you are alone, you truly are not. There are hundreds of thousands who hold the codes of this ancient lost land, and even Lemuria crystals that hold the codes of remembering that are beginning to rise all over the planet. Keep doing what you are doing, and remember, the only way to heal the world around us is to first heal ourselves. Oh, jeez! Lemuria! I hold the codes of Lemuria and believe that heaven really is a place on earth. They try to get me with a can be. Nay, is a place on earth. Heaven is a place on earth. It is. My mind and all of the things it has left is like, bro, are you capping though? Do you know what you've been through? No. Is heaven, dude. Look at me. Sitting here stably, having air to breathe. The temperature isn't absolutely devastating. So much to be grateful for. Thank you, Lemuria. And now, to trust our own path. I don't know if you're still here, Connor. Lemuria is where Atlantis was. Yee. Lemuria's. Alright, we must learn how to stretch and morph our convictions and margins in a way that allows us to receive unseen perspectives. Then fluidity becomes second nature and adjustments become simple. We are here to learn and experience this life from many different perspectives. First, you need to learn how to get outside of the fences. I don't know, Joe. I feel like that's too much pressure, like holding fluid in your hand and being mad it won't stay put. No, I believe instead your consciousness is something that wants to become rigid. And the act of melting turns that something rigid into a fluid. And then you and your mind trying to create containers for this consciousness basically creates a sense of ego shaping, of conscious evolution, right? Of trying to pour yourself into the shape you want to see yourself as. And then to do that, and then to see how that shape, like a beautifully intricate puzzle piece, fits into this world. And if it doesn't, remelting and recasting yourself and being active in this approach. All right, casting the self off, getting outside of the fences, right, to see how the fractal you are integrates into the gears of reality. The people of Lemuria went underground and are under a mountain in California. They still use the crystals to communicate to us. Lemurians, why haven't you communicated to me? They say, what up? They say, Zup, I'm here, brother. I'm reading your card now, dude. Trust your path. Oh, wait, I'm trusting. Hey. Hey, 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 hey. Trust your path, dear Connor. Are you trusting your path right now? The universe is conspiring. Keeping you facing your true north. For your job is not to pave the path, but to simply keep facing your true north and take one step after another. If you do this, you can't go wrong. The universe is conspiring, so don't waver or doubt. Use your heart as a compass and put one foot in front of the other. If you follow the invisible trail of what lights you up, that's literally what Jovan was talking about as well, right? You will light up the world without even trying. Most people don't follow the highest call of their souls because they are waiting to see the end destination before they take the first step. If you take one baby step each day, within a year you will have taken 365 steps in your dedicated direction. There's my wisdom of the structure, right? Take one step today. That's all you have to do. And then by the end of the year, you would have taken so many steps forward. If you just want, if you want to write a book, write a page every day. If you want to change careers, do one thing every day in dedication to that. Before you know it, in just a year from now, you will turn back and look in awe at how far you have journeyed. Keep moving and open yourself up to a whole new level of support and receiving. Things are not going to work out the way you were planning, but if you have a little faith and keep showing up, they will work out even better than you could have possibly imagined. Don't micromanage the universe. Trust your path and let your soul lead the way. Sorry, having connection issues. Well, I believe this is recorded, so you can skip back if you need to. That felt good for me too. Love is true. I'm gonna say goodbye to you, but only after I play my drum. Maybe by the time I'm done doofing, there will be a goodbye message for me to read. I love conspiracies. Uh, I am friendly with conspiracies, right? Like if Jovan, so powerful with the synchronicities. Like if love to me looks like the wanting of embracing, uh, and friendliness is like love at a distance. I am friendly with conspiracy theories, right? I'll listen to a conspiracy theory. I'll consider it, but I won't make it a part of my reasoning. Right? I'll just be like, okay, cool. Going on with my life. Kind of vibes. No, oops. No, what you oopsing for? Love is true. Thank you. I'm back in a second. I need to go to the bathroom too, so give me 2 seconds at least. Wait a second. One of the seconds that I'm supposed to be given. Let me just give you a perspective. A better perspective than the one you have. Yeah, better. It's better. There's still a lot of brick, I know, but at least there's some trees. Thanks for the card. You are so welcome, Connor. Very welcome indeed. I do like that tree in the background. Is that gonna be a better scene? I do like them lights. Let's see if I do this. Oh. Somebody blesses me? Connor! How nice of ye. Bless you, brother bear. Thank you for the $5, dude. That's really so nice. Thanks for the card. Can't stay, Blue Jay. The sweet parakeet. Take care, polar bear. Bye bye, butterfly. Sorry I had to. Bless you. See you later, Enricator. Afro Rocket. I have a whole list. Bless you. Love that. So much love in chat. Connor, hang in there, brother bear. This is just one chapter of your life. This will soon become a memory, and you will have created a new world and use the chapter as a lesson. He'll be okay. I love Donkey. The donkey was singing just as I finished my set as well. Them clouds. Oh wow, so beautiful. So pretty. Oh, and there's our goodbye message. So perfectly timed as well. I'm gonna show you the beauties all around, and then I'm gonna go and sit down. Read my goodbye message of love. Say goodbye to my friends for today at the very least. Skip up. The lighting makes me look all dark and blurry right now. Oh. Ah, the pain. Life. Suffering. Goodbye message. Thank you again, Jovan. Alright. Melty, thank you. Thank you, bro. Thank you for lending me your senses so I can try and share love with them. Try and give you more things to be a part of your mind that may make it easier to deal with the nonsense that's also a part of your mind. Here's hoping that it's a beautiful western sky today. Bless. Share that synchronicity. Have the most creatively curious day, everyone. You're for super mega reels and total truth, so very loved. Malacophones melt more, and all of you oh so inspiringly insightful, courageously compassionate, amazingly attentive, happily helpful, tastefully tactful, absolutely altruistically authentic, wholesome, humanimal, critter creatures, mindfully meandering the thoughts that arise within us. I'm seeing a tree that looks like it's growing as peacock feathers. So very colorful and beautiful. Closing my eyes after reading that loving message. Thank you for letting your mind meander here with me on another day, on another hottie dust. Thank you for sharing your loves. I appreciate it. I'll see you friends again very soon. Tomorrow. Goodbye, everybody.